right, we are recording. Sandip, introduce yourself. Why are you good to talk about experimentation program management?
Okay, Ben. So I've been working on optimization for probably about a decade, on and off, but much more intensely over the last few years. So I work at Cisco at the moment, leading their Cisco.com efforts across EMEA, and obviously testing and optimization experimentation is a big part of that. And even prior to this role, I worked on a pure optimization role, heading up their optimization team over at Experian.
Well, cool. So I'm going to ask you three pretty surgical questions, all on kind of the experimentation program, right? The first question, what are your insights? And by insight, I mean, like, where do you think things go wrong and how do you think they should be done? What are your insights for where in an organization experimentation should be led? Like, what function do you think that experimentation should be led?
Well, the short answer is that it depends, which I know isn't very insightful, but it does. It depends on the type of organization that it is. So if we're talking about a company that was being formed within the digital era and is likely to have agility and those smart practices baked into everything that they do, then it might be that aligned with an analytics function makes a lot of sense. Analytics function that reaches out and touches data points across sales and product and acquisitions and retentions and everything else. That kind of data is much more easy to plug into those disciplines in those kind of environments. For more established businesses, and this is where I can apply my expertise. I think digital might be a good place to start, because that is where the majority of those roles actually reside. If you think about it in terms of UX and web content management and publishing and personalization, everything else, the execution of that all happens within digital in many organizations.
Yeah.
And there is a hybrid of this, and that is, just leaving aside that, there's also the standalone team that manages optimization that's not aligned to either sales or digital or analytics at all. And that, again, for more mature businesses, that would possibly make sense. What we're doing is we're actually creating a center of excellence model. And what that means is that we have cross-functional specialists all coming together, and they're all journey-based. So they're looking at specific journeys on the Cisco.com website, and they bring their insights from their particular areas to understand what to optimize, where to optimize it, and how to prioritize that. And we have obviously a conversion rate optimizer as part of those journey teams as well.
Yeah, good answer. It's always the unsatisfying. It depends, but you went through like the three different options there. It's good. All right, question number two. I want to talk. This is a metrics question. Not around test metrics, it's within the test metrics, the customer metrics or revenue metrics, but thinking about the program, monitoring the experimentation program health and performance. What are some metrics that you guys are using? Some examples could be agility, like how fast from test conclusion to implementation, or efficiency. How many times did that test have to go back into development or QA because of problems? Velocity, of course, is a classic one. Can you talk to me about what you're seeing useful for the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Cisco, we're probably not as sophisticated as some of the optimization functions out there. So we are looking at more base metrics, such as things like number of tests and whether there are tests being run out of region, out of global, how many sites does it cover. So fairly basic metrics. Once we go through this transition, this digital transformation from being a decentralized optimization function within Cisco, where you've got global teams and you've got regional teams using the same tools, and platforms, but actually having their own optimization programs. When we move much more into the center of excellence model, that's when we want to start looking at things around the program health. It certainly will help me to justify moving over to the center of excellence model. And yeah, we will be looking at things like agility and how many times a test will go back into development through issues. We'll be using tools like effective experiments, and you can actually set how long particular tests will take to go through development. And if it doesn't, you can start monitoring that, and there could be issues internally within the team, with individuals, with the test itself, whatever it might be. Those are the times where that's going to be the time for us to be looking at the health of the test program. So at this stage, fairly basic. In a few months' time, hopefully a lot more sophisticated.
Yeah, I love it. Program metrics are fascinating me, especially on, as you can break down performance of and try to get that machine running a little bit more efficiently, from the design hiccups to, the back and forths from there, because usually what's holding back the testing program is the handoffs, design to, research to design to dev to QA to launch, and then data analyst and things like that. It's usually those handoffs, and if you track that, you can get that machine running more efficiently.
The
Okay,
biggest one actually that we noticed, sorry, I was about to say, the biggest one that we noticed making a difference is actually having that business stakeholder approval when a test is being developed at design stage. The last thing you want to do is start tinkering with a test whilst it's in execution mode. You need to get that sorted at design stage. So having a good feedback loop there is important.
Yeah, good point. All right, third and last question. This one is more in that customer interview research type of idea, because I know you not only do you have a lot of experience in running programs, experimentation programs, but you're restructuring a giant program right now, and so your head is in this quite a bit. So as you think about like your day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, as you run these programs, I want you to give me the two biggest obstacles that are front and center in your head right now, the pains, the things that you're spending your time on that you ask yourself, oh, I wish this was automated a little bit better. Like what are the two biggest pains that you've got right now with regards to the program?
Okay, I think the first one, we've been talking about it before, is around optimization culture. And it is difficult for those businesses that weren't formed during the digital era to retrofit that kind of agility that you need and experimentation mindset into everything that they do. So when you do end up doing that, it can be quite difficult. And sometimes you need to have some top-down instruction or directive that we are going to be much more led by data and optimize everywhere and test everything, iterate, and continue building your baseline. So in larger organizations, more established organizations, retrofitting that agility has been one of the most difficult things. Yeah. I think the other thing, and again, I'm talking about larger companies, is teams working in silos. And one of the issues that you find is that if you've got different departments that are optimizing, then you might find that they're optimizing against the metric that makes sense for them, but it has a knock-on effect to someone else's metrics. Mm-hmm. So for example, you could be testing a call to action, which has increased the click-through rate by 100%, but actually you might be increasing returns as well because that call to action is not accurate. Yep. And that's what happens if you're not working in a properly orchestrated optimization program.
Yeah, I think that leads back to your second point there, leads back to metric alignment. Ultimately having the metric align the teams and the goals of the teams, and having that sort of drive and orchestrate among the different silos. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Sandip. That was it. 3 questions, real quick, kind of rapid fire. Really appreciate you coming on and answering that.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you.